repeatedly, for years, abused cousins, uncles. Age of 14, pregnant. Infant dies. She had every excuse to go with a friend, get out drinking. She would have every excuse on the planet to say, my life was not fair to me. I can't keep living. But instead, decides to push through. At the age of 19, goes on the radio. 20, goes on TV. Continues to conquer. She decides that she will not let life happen to her. She will happen to life. So many of us let life happen to us instead of us happening to life. You have to realize that. She goes on to become the first and only black, what do you call it? It's not Canada. African-American billionaire female ever. That's crazy. This lady that was raped, how did she do that? It was in her mind. It was in her mindset. She would not let these things happen to her. She decided she would happen to life. So you trying to convince someone that has a $900 iPhone to buy a $140 challenge pack? It's not so hard. Really not. You didn't make it, by the way, either. So we need some perspective in our life because I believe that there's so many words that get misused. So hard. Today is so hard, so tired. I remember my friends. I remember we were at the hospital one day with my wife. She'd just given birth to our first son, and I used to work as a Microsoft consultant, and my boss comes to visit. My wife just gave birth, and she sits down, and she's like, and she doesn't have any kids, by the way. She's like, oh man, I'm so tired right now. She's exhausted. It's such an exhausting day. My wife's looking at her as like, are you freaking serious right now? So we need some perspective of what's hard and what's easy. We live in North America, no matter where you're at, you're richer than 90% of the entire freaking planet. But we can do better. See, the thing is that I realize that we have a gift to give. We have a gift to give. It's called Beachbody. It's amazing. Right? It's amazing. It's not just the products, it's not just all that stuff. It's the fact that people can become a coach and be surrounded by like-minded people like this. It's amazing. It's an amazing gift. And you have the God-given right to share that. That's what I believe. Let's talk a little bit about our fears and how we can create our fears and use them to become pillars for the future of our life. Okay, this is Walt Disney. Who's the creature he's with there? Who's not going to talk no matter what I say? He's going to sit there. It's Mickey Mouse, right? His biggest fear? Mice. Walt Disney's afraid of mice. He's known for Mickey Mouse. It's crazy. But he allowed that to fuel his passion, his drive. Goes on to create Snow White. People think he's crazy. You're going to make an animated movie? You're insane. Changes the world. People still go. How many people have gone to Disney or hope to go one day? It's amazing. This guy, afraid of mice. Crazy. Nuts. I wasn't sure if I would use this, and I'm not going to go into the topic, and I feel horrible for what happened, but as we all should, we're all brothers and sisters, but that's the Eiffel Tower. Created by Gustav Eiffel. His biggest fear? Heights. This came up a couple years after the Washington Monument, I learned. Washington Monument at the time was the largest structure ever created on the planet. And this came up after that. It's crazy. Afraid of heights. Go figure. Who's that? Richard Gere. So I know we have more women in the audience. Pretty Woman. Julia Roberts. Imagine a world without Pretty Woman. She really broke boundaries for so many women. She raised the pay, everything. One of the highest paid actresses ever, worth $140 million. Right? Her biggest fear? Public speaking. I'm actually a little afraid of it too, but I still do it anyway. Public speaking, but she does it anyway, regardless. Who's that? Mr. Bean. Everybody loves Mr. Bean. Do they show it all the time? We have like 3 channels in Canada, and this is the only show they show all the time. It's awesome, he's hilarious. Rowan Atkinson. Bullied as a child. Bullied his whole life. Prime Minister Tony Blair was 2 years older than him, and so he went through school and he recalls how badly this guy was bullied. You know what he was bullied for? Stuttering. He had a huge stuttering problem, but one day walks into drama class because he really wants to get over his fear, and he realizes that when he's on stage, he doesn't stutter. Goes on to become an incredible actor and comedian, and it's just so freaking funny. It's funny that his role, he doesn't talk. It's kind of funny. I thought it was funny. So, I'm going to do this in 1 second, but I've talked to you guys today a little bit about how bad things that happen in your life can either empower you or destroy you. You ultimately give meaning to everything that happens in your life. Someone cuts you off, you can get angry, or you can say, what if that person is speeding to the hospital for a mom that's dying? You gave it meaning. When you see something, perception is reality. So the trick of life is to give things the right meaning so that you can take appropriate action. So how do I do this? There was this thing that I used to do when I was little. My parents growing up, we had no money. We made like very little money. We immigrated from Chile to Canada with $1,000, from like really nice weather to basically an igloo. My parents didn't speak the language, and they gave up everything for me, pretty much their whole life. My mom was a nurse, my dad was an engineer. And they gave up everything. And so anyway, I was 12 years old, and somehow they were putting me through private school. And I didn't know the value of money at the time, and they tell me like, hey, I tell them like, what do you want for Christmas? And I say, I want a Super Nintendo, because the Super Nintendo came out at that time. I was like, hey, Super Nintendo, sweet, that's what I want. And then my dad, I don't know how he afforded it at the time. I really don't know now that I know, because I retired my parents actually 6 months ago thanks to Beachbody. They had worked for 35 years in a home daycare. They came here, my dad used to work in a fur factory. Imagine going from engineer to working in a fur factory, right? So anyway, when I was 12, I have the audacity to ask him for something that I knew they couldn't afford. And my dad says, you know what? I'll buy that for you if you listen to these tapes. And they're like tapes at the time, right? So I'm like, okay, how many are there? So I do the math, like 30 days, I'm like sweet. And you gotta do this little journal. I'm like, yeah, no problem, I can do that. Little did I know that that little tape book with the journal would change my entire life. The program was called Personal Power by the Guthrie Ranker Corporation. I still remember that. Anyway, so this whole thing's produced. So I do the whole thing. I fail at doing it like twice. I don't get the Super Nintendo. My dad was pretty strict. But then I finally do the whole thing. I do the whole program. Little did I know that my dad was completely tricking me into learning things that would later on help me more than I can honestly say school ever did. Right? It taught me to set goals. It taught me to visualize. And one key thing that I can tell you that has helped me my entire life is this thing called visualization. Visualization exercises. And I do them every single day without fail. I do them in the shower. My wife always yells at me. She's like, what are you doing in the freaking shower? Right? That's the only time that I can actually go into the shower and no one's bugging me on my phone. Right? So I'm literally just focused. And I do a visualization exercise every single day. I've been doing it since I was 13 years old. And the funny thing is, I could tell you that it might be luck, but every single thing that I visualized has happened. 3 kids, marrying a beautiful woman, Miguel Carrasco, that would support me and become an elite coach on her very own. I gave her a coach once, they quit. So that didn't work out so good. So how did I do that? I visualized every day because life will beat you every single day. Every single day it will. So you need to have at least one moment in your life, 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, to visualize and set some goals for yourself so that you can happen to life instead of life happening to you. If you don't do what we're about to do every single day, you're basically going out there and saying, give it to me, world, let's see what happens today. I got a plan, it'll happen someday, but I don't really have a plan for today. So usually I do it longer. I'll do like a plan for the day, and then I'll do a 2 to 3 year out plan. And I'm going to talk about things today, just so you know, that might not happen in terms of like Beachbody, because I do a visualization where I think where we'll be as a Beachbody company in 2 to 3 years. So I don't want you to think, oh, is that where we're going? Because I just made it up, just to be totally clear. But I do these visualizations all the time, and everything I've done, I was like, I'm going to become a diamond coach in a month, diamond coach in 24 days. I'm going to become an elite coach, the first elite coach in Canada, done in a year. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it always seems to happen. And the times that I screw up is because I stop visualizing. And I stopped going to church too, that's bad. I keep going to church. Right? You don't have to, that's just my personal belief. But so I want to do this with you guys. Are you guys okay to do a visualization exercise with me? If you're not, that's cool, you can leave, but it's really, really cool. I know, I'm serious. Some people have religious beliefs. I don't want to impose on them. We're going to do a visualization exercise. It's not religious, it's just visualization. So if we can dim the lights, and if we can, once those are dimmed, we're going to play the music. I need you to take everything out of your hands as well. You can't hold anything. All right. You can turn it up a little more as well. Thank you. Okay, close your eyes. Nothing in your hands. Take a big deep breath in and a deep breath out. Another deep breath in, hold it, and a deep breath out. Wiggle your toes, your fingers. You wake up. You smell the amazing coffee brewing downstairs. You look to the left of you, and that beautiful person you were meant to spend the rest of your life with is sleeping beside you. You get out of bed. You walk over to the window, and you see that beautiful car that you've always wanted your whole life, but were afraid to buy, thought you could never afford, is sitting